right into it. We do indeed have Athena's out, we have Nyx's out, we have Doom Guy's out, and it's going to be cha1n spawning as Doom Guy, actually back there in the stairway. So again, like Doom Guy, yeah, he gets Mega, he gets LG, he can go for HMG and Rocket Launcher, but that doesn't really give you what he would have had if he was on dramiS' side, where you're able to get like the Rocket Launcher very quickly, get over to rail. But cha1n's still able to make a full circuit of the map and get all the weapons with hardly any damage out of dramiS, and indeed getting that first rail off himself.
Yeah, I think dramiS there was trying to maybe be a little overzealous with his chase to start the round. Maybe he felt like he had, well, this is a good
He's actually bringing out the punches, okay. Wasn't expecting it here, but he's also using it to get away and make some distance. It's always hard to kind of like audibly track your opponent while you're doing that because, you know, you're screaming in your own ears. But cha1n's able to take away that Mega, get back through TP, and start defending himself. Yeah,
cha1n's in a lot better position than he could have been had he gone the wrong way with the punches. He like you said, he could have easily walked right into a trap. This will be an interesting fight. Surprised he went with rail there, but some good rockets to kind of...
I mean, that was such a perfect fight. I mean, cha1n was just a little bit too early with both of those actions. So he shot his rocket a little bit early, and then he dropped down for the rail a little bit early. Like a quarter second either way there would have made all the difference. But he still does a lot of damage to dramiS. He's going to be recovering back over on pillar side, but cha1n's actually kind of allowing him to stay over there so that cha1n can get that heavy.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised cha1n played that so passively there, even though he wasn't completely stacked himself. He probably knew that dramiS had less than, you know, basically 25 HP, had 1 HP, but he probably knew that going into that area, but I guess maybe he just didn't feel confident that he was going to hit the shots. He missed a few shots on that telly that he probably should have hit, and maybe that's kind of shaking his confidence.
Yeah, he wanted the time to get a few of his own shots in and just soften up cha1n, not allow him to run around with that full stack, but it's going to be another potential item trade here. We do see dramiS back over at the heavy, and they're not even all that off sync. And 2 minutes in, that's a little bit of a surprise. That's been changing a lot in Blood Covenant lately.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more delays and, you know, trying to get one of the items to around 15 seconds.
It's going to be good initial damage here, and there's that, you know, 2 or 3 shots that cha1n's looking for that you mentioned. But he hasn't gotten the third, so he's not going around this choke point just yet. Spamming out a few jump sounds, and you can still hear the rompy stompy of dramiS around the other side. There's the orb, but it doesn't quite connect, doesn't quite get the telefrag, so cha1n's rocket is going to finish that first fight. 2.5 minutes into the first round.
Well, and I still think we kind of saw the same sort of pattern there. He didn't truly commit to that fight. He really more took a safe angle where he knew he could still back out. And I think you'll see more of that here. He's going to want to hit another rail before he pushes in on the slash, knowing her mobility and capacity to escape and do a lot of damage very quickly.
Yeah, so of course nailing down that slash is going to be tough, but cha1n can certainly be a bit of a brick wall on some of these corners, and he's been really consistent with his rail so far, softening dramiS up, making it difficult for him to justify showing up here at pillars. He's here though.
Yeah, I think dramiS actually isn't in a terrible position here. He still has the capacity to get out of that situation. But like you said, it was an unnecessary risk had he taken a rail.
What a great jump out of cha1n, and dramiS, so no suicides on the door frame. Nerf door frames, please. They're just so strong.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta let your anger out on something.
I mean, cha1n was actually kind of in a bad spot. That rocket could have ended the deal, but dramiS is going to be down to his Nyx. Coming up the jump pad, he might have to use this Ghost Walk defensively, but he's actually making it a little bit more ambiguous, forcing cha1n down and towards the heavy armor. So, I mean, dramiS doesn't have all the weapons he needs for this fight, but he's bringing out the machine gun, just trying to soften him up a little bit here, but he's getting punished by a rail from cha1n.
I wish we could kind of ask dramiS, was his plan to go up the pad and then use the invis? Or if maybe he just didn't know he was still up there, he might have thought that he had already rotated elsewhere, because cha1n does tend to play those sounds very well. He likes to try and, you know, you've seen him a few times already.
Oh yeah.
Deke with the double jump, make him think that he's gone to catwalk or something like that. Oof. Good rails.
And another one where dramiS just walks right into it. And this is the kind of situation that most players find themselves in against dramiS on Ruins of Sarnath. But right now, cha1n getting a very clean third frag for that first round.
Yeah, I think that was just excellent positioning by cha1n there, knowing that dramiS was ultless.
Not even this, like, he switched over to rail afterwards, but it was like, all right, just rocket. No big deal.
Yeah, you know, I think in that situation as Doom Guy, having rockets out is probably pretty beneficial, because if he does need to drop, he can fight pretty easily with rockets out, and versus a Nyx, she's really serious.
I like that initial little bit of damage out of dramiS. I mean, he's taking a bunch of his own, but he's not allowing cha1n as much comfort on this side of the map. So Mega's going to be really delayed. It's like a 6-second difference here. But In fact, both items are a little bit delayed as they're coming back in mid-map, not really having a good place to go as they both have weapons. But there's cha1n finally getting the pickup for Rail.
That was really good use of LG stairs by dramiS there. A lot of players just outright forget that it's there and don't bother to use it, and he didn't even hesitate. Some good rails coming out for both of them.
But it's back in the danger zone for them both, as we've got 5 seconds to Mega with the heavy backup now. cha1n's going to have this clean pickup, but on his exit, he has the potential of, well, facing some damage from dramiS, but dramiS is only now picking up the Mega.
Yeah, I think there you had a bit of Russian roulette at the end of that fight. Who wants to take the last rail? We both got one bullet in the chamber.
Not worth it.
Nobody committed to that one. So
yeah, I appreciate the respect here. It's already a little bit different than what we've seen out of Saigib and Effortless, where, you know, the frags came a lot faster. But with the rails that both of these guys are hitting, the consistency is, you know, just dangerous for both of them.
And I think dramiS knows very well that, you know, he's got the squishy and cha1n's got the medium. So, you know, it's effectively dramiS's fight to lose. If he makes the wrong commitment, then he's the one that's in trouble and down a champ, whereas cha1n can just play much more passive and play with the stack. But that's some sick tri-bolt and a nice rail to boot. It's going to put cha1n in some degree of trouble. I mean,
but as always, on Blood Covenant, it's so difficult to like rail somebody from across the map and then follow up and push in, even with the slash, because yeah, you have the choke points, you have all these corners to play with, and cha1n, fully aware of that, is going to be able to take away that first frag. Yeah,
the rockets can solve a lot of problems in this game if you can hit a couple of good ones, and that's exactly what cha1n did when he needed to. And now dramiS is sitting there like, man, I did so much damage. Why is he not dead yet?
Alright, so he's looking for the long-range shots, not quite getting this rail, but dramiS sticks around to eat one more, and this is allowing cha1n to think about crossing back over towards pillars. dramiS is actually still in a bit of an ambiguous position where he can bail if he wants to, but cha1n cuts him off, but wasn't expecting that to go out that way. So it's a messy fight on rocket launcher. Wow.
So the whole time there, it felt like cha1n was losing that fight.
Yeah.
And somehow dramiS lost it. But yeah, that was incredibly messy and some interesting weapon switches out of both players in that situation.
But with the damage output from dramiS in that fight, I mean, he's down 2 frags, but cha1n is certainly on his back leg. He's able to take away the heavy armor, but he's having to skirt around the map and take away some of these 25s. dramiS taking away the Mega. I mean, after this pickup for the rail, he could be very dangerous for cha1n, especially after this Ghost Walk. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of good LG, and dramiS is back on the map.
And dramiS has a very, very good Nyx. I mean, he plays it matches his style, and that he can use her aggressively to kind of close kills that he hit some entry rockets on. So he's got a very good Nyx. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes this one more champ down at least from cha1n, if not take the whole round.
It was relatively clean. We do see cha1n spawning back up with plenty of armor and a bit of Mega.
And an orb and a dream.
But it's going to be about getting close enough for that orb to do its job, because dramiS has got Ghost Walk back up. He's already gotten 2 rails off of him, and I really like this this die orb usage out of cha1n, but he still ends up taking a ton of LG damage, and he's not even really out of the fight just yet. dramiS can keep continuing this. He drops down on the LG, never advisable in any flavor of Quake, but he's done the damage, and they're both going to be so weak, but dramiS is so hungry for this frag.
Yeah, I think dramiS kind of miscalculated that the Mega was going to be up. And so he let him use the orb and thought that was kind of a good thing for himself, and didn't even bother to kind of check where it was going. So the worst case scenario for him was that cha1n got the Mega health with 1 HP effectively.
Yeah, but that still allows dramiS enough time to get this Ghost Walk back up, and back here in mid-map, if he's got his audio cues up right, I think he lost an opportunity there, and back on the chase. I don't know if he can really commit to this. Like through the choke point, well, that's what the Ghost Walk is for, but conversely, that's what the die orb is for.
Some really good damage from dramiS there, but I think cha1n ultimately, knowing that he needs to save his die orb, it's very easy to panic in that situation and try and use it to do some quick damage, you know, on your opponent that's pushing you, and he just said, nope. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to wait for him to pop his Ghost Walk, and I'm going to get out of dodge. Uh-oh, spots the tail. Ranger's tail.
That's actually a big deal there, because now we've got the Ghost Walk coming back. I mean, cha1n, even as quickly as that die orb comes back up, dramiS is going to know he won't have it available as an escape card this time. So dramiS looking to tighten the noose, getting close, and this is a perfect setup for him.
Wow.
But he doesn't even need the Ghost Walk.
Oh, that's so clutch, not having to use the Ghost Walk, reading the damage there and knowing that he's, you know, inches away from death. This is a really good situation for dramiS. Fortunately for cha1n, he is going to get Mega, and he should get the lower green. So he should be decently stacked, but dramiS can do some entry damage.
dramiS wants this fight. He's going to get it too. He's going to have to Ghost Walk back out of there. He doesn't have a Mega to collect at this point, but we're now into overtime. I don't want to call it sudden death, because especially on VM6, it very rarely is.
Yeah, it's becoming no kidding. It's becoming quickly becoming one of those rounds that might go, you know, pretty long. You have a champion with incredible escapability, and then you have another champion that can literally invis and run away from any situation.
But that rail opened up this mega for dramiS, and he can come back into mid-map fairly confident. And with 2 whiffs there, that actually helps dramiS out a lot. He can close in close and...
Really smart move by dramiS there.
Yeah.
You know, he knew he only had 4 rails left, and he knows that this round's going to be won with the railgun effectively. Whoever hits that opening rail is going to have a tremendous
on this though.
It's a good play.
And cha1n's looking for him, but yeah, he looked left when he should have looked right, and that's going to tie up the rounds 1-1.
I think cha1n probably had around 25 HP right there, and that did 29. That was really close.
It's the jump right before the rocket. I mean, one of my favorite things about Quake is always how a room changes so drastically depending on how many stairs are in it. You put 1 step in the room and it's a totally different experience.
Yeah, we were talking about before the broadcast that little ramp down on Veil of Nap by the teleporter exit. The ramp down to the light armor next to Mega Health, and how impactful that can be on fights. And players don't even realize it.
Or even Italian finals. Yeah. All right, but LG on LG out here mid-map. dramiS has got to leave it, though. We heard a rocket jump, and cha1n's actually leaving that as well. I mean, it was a nice little fake out, and dramiS, it looked like he got a little scared there for a moment.
How do you feel about the Swapperoo to Ranger? I know dramiS is a pretty big fan of mixing up his starting champ some good rails, though, so I guess it doesn't matter.
I mean, it's also your answer a little bit. I mean, yeah, you can use the Dire Orb no matter what side of the map you are on to get a bit of an early advantage in the round, but it also means you're getting into a fight maybe a little bit sooner than you wanted to. And cha1n getting the heavy armor side spawn, like, he's going to have a very quick rail.
Yeah, he's already in kind of a dominant position, particularly against a Nyx. I'd say in this situation, DOOI definitely has the edge. If Nyx had control, it would probably be, you know, pretty even at best, but with DOOI in control, it's very, very tough. Good LG always fixes problems like that.
Yeah, dramiS is doing everything he can to kind of turn things back around. Nearly gets the telefrat, but these rockets coming out of cha1n are going to be dropping dramiS to the ground, but not all in one piece.
dramiS sat there and just said, you know, the inside out's going to be gone in a few weeks probably, so I'm going to try and get one now. I need my highlight. My one highlight.
With the, oh, what a great rocket right into the LG. And dramiS is back on the other side of the bridge. He didn't even want to be there. Just got completely popped over. So yeah, that last rocket, donk, and just speeding across, overshooting the bridge, overshooting the heavy armor, and yeah, getting stuck.
What a phenomenal read by cha1n to know, not even looking, that that might be a potential outcome and that he should position, you know, accordingly. Based on that rocket, and so he netted himself a frag there. She could have potentially gotten away even after a bad bounce, but his kind of quick thinking and knowing that could be an outcome nets him the frag.
And puts him on round point here on Blood Covenant. We're going to be having dramiS here trying to claw back up, starting off as Slash. And yeah, dramiS as a first pick for Slash, always very powerful if he can get back up to the top map and start to control that just a little bit. But that's easier said than done right now, as we've got 8 seconds back up to Heavy with Mega just a few behind. dramiS is currently on pillars, but he's looking for an opportunity potentially to cross.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how dramiS will use the super shotgun here against DOOI. I mean, if he gets in a close range fight, a lot of times it's an even better option.
Oh, wow.
Good rail. Wow, good return rail, too.
Couldn't quite close the gap, couldn't get across to the bridge. I think he could have done so much more damage with the LG there, but at least he got away with the heavy armor.
And this is an interesting fight. You know, like, the other player has... Oh, gosh. If you hit your shots, it doesn't matter. As Danger said, this game is very easy when you hit all your shots. It's a tough spawn.
Yeah.
Good use of the ult to kind of get out of a sticky situation. He could have just kind of tilted there and said, I don't care, hit the rocket.
It always sets a bad precedent as Nyx, though, because once you use it defensively, you're going to be pretty defensive until it comes back up next, and it's likely to happen again. So at least so far in the earlier rounds, we saw dramiS just, even when it wasn't the best idea, using the Ghost Walk aggressively just to keep cha1n up against the ropes. But right now, dramiS is in a bit of the danger zone.
Yeah, he's kind of on the impoverished side of the map, not having access to a ton of weapons that you need to play out of control. I mean, he could have maybe gotten to Tri-Bolt, but it's still very risky with no ult up, and unfortunately missing that jump and not getting to a railgun is going to kind of force him to play passively for a little while longer.
Absolutely, but with this time elapsing the way it is, I mean, he's only 1 frag down, hasn't been caught out yet, he's got his Ghost Walk back up, and now he's looking for this first shot. could have gone a little bit more cleanly, and the fact that cha1n got a rail off doesn't help matters at all.
Ooh, and this is super risky. He may have to. If he stays in that fight any longer, he might have to ult to make sure he doesn't die to another rail, because cha1n's hitting everything at the moment.
It was a little surprising that dramiS didn't get a pick of his own, but he wanted the damage, he wanted the rockets, but just couldn't follow up long range like that.
Yeah, and I think now he knows, like, okay, I've given up a full cycle of items here. I need to hit a sick rocket rail combo, and now I can fight him. And sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be kind of this whenever it was like a Nyx versus a Soar, like you just know as the next player, I need 3 or 4 solid rails in before I can get anywhere close to you. It's not quite as drastic here, but dramiS is still kind of playing it that way.
And some good rail, a good defensive rail coming out of cha1n in that situation, but dramiS is really not in that bad of a position at the moment. He knows when heavy is, so he can either choose to push it or position above it. cha1n always reads that angle really, really well. He has a really good feel for what players want to do at that heavy armor, and making the perfect read there to get basically 100 free damage on dramiS unanswered. And
it's
rail.
that rail that certainly opens up this fight. dramiS playing a little bit down here in mid, not wanting to get caught out, but he's going to get caught here at the LG. That's just a rocket just pushing the LG a little bit further in. And it's going to be dramiS down to his last potential life. cha1n's Doom guy has just been so dominant on DM6.
Yeah, I think it's just given him uncanny control of upper. And, you know, I think dramiS planned on using Slash in a similar manner, but it's kind of not worked out that way for him. And now you're seeing the wrath of the double jump and the big stack. Unfortunately, Nyx just doesn't have that that chunkiness that one needs. Oh, but a really good ambush.
Thick but not chunky, but it's going to be cha1n taking a lot of damage here, but dramiS doesn't have anywhere to go. One last rail would do it, but dramiS actually makes the better decision, whipping out the machine gun, which would have worked out for cha1n. He had plenty of time for it.
Actually, really good all-in by dramiS there. In that situation, you got like a minute left, and you've got to make something happen. You want to put some pressure on cha1n, and now dramiS actually isn't in that bad of a position to kind of win this back in the last 30 seconds and get it tied.
I don't think he heard cha1n up top of the books, though, so he's going to be down here at the pillars, but cha1n can still leave at will. And like you mentioned, he's got very little time to get this next frag back up, but at least his top map, taking away rockets. cha1n really playing things out at the railgun, and there was no damage from the tri-bolt, so dramiS didn't really get any information out of it. That rocket gives away his position. He doesn't want to use the dire orb to get up top. He's going to have to use it to cross the map, but it puts him right at a choke point. It's a nasty place to be, and he's going to be taken on down by cha1n for a GG here on Blood Covenant.
Really solid work by cha1n to run away that round. I mean, you kind of saw him make some mistakes earlier in the map. He had a chance to maybe run away with the round, and he didn't. And you know, this time particularly, he played it the right way. He used Ranger's orb effectively and put dramiS in a really unfortunate position. That shot was just and the whole read was just so quality.
We just haven't seen so much of cha1n's Doom guy even getting knocked down. But of course, that is Blood Covenant, and we're going to be going into the next map here pretty shortly. And that's actually be Veil of Now. So, like you mentioned, cha1n might not be the biggest fan of Veil. I know it's a more divisive map than most, which, you know, coming from Quake 2 and Quake World, that really is something I enjoy. I want to see maps that some players love, that other players hate, and that really defining a lot of these matchups.
Yeah, I think this map is it's very tough to play out of control. Yeah, it's tough to stay in. You know, you'll see, it's almost like the third frag is on this map, you know, the pivotal frag. Yeah. And maybe the life where you could use to come back into a map a round. But that's when the round kind of ends. So it's incredibly tough to play out of control. So I think someone like dramiS, who is more aggressive, more assertive, might have a bit of an advantage over cha1n, who you know, tends to like to play that kind of pecky hit and run. I'm just going to chip you here. I'm just going to chip you there.
That's not this map at all. Like,
not at all.
You really need to set up that fortress onto the top of the map and have a slugfest.
It's commit. That's what it's all about. I mean, you saw how many fights did we see in the Rafa versus Razy map where it was 1 HP? Right. Because that's just the way it goes. It's commit. You have to go.
But we have Keel coming out of cha1n.
Actually, you know, I'm not super surprised. We'll see what dramiS runs here. I'm sure he had some sort of a plan.
And a Sorlag at it, dramiS. Okay, so of course Sorlag doesn't take the acid damage, but even after this patch where she did get a reduction in size, which is the main thing I've just been asking about for such a long time. Her movement's a lot of
She went
fun.
on a diet, a little diet.
A little bit. She's still more shaftable than most other champions. I mean, just her silhouette makes it very easy to train her down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if he's got some sort of, you know, maybe camp tactic or something that he's waiting to kind of pull out with her, to use the spit to kind of force an all-in fight. But, you know, I think versus Keel, Sorlag's at a significant disadvantage. Those grenades hit a lot.
We are about to find out, and yeah, if you can hit with them, that's really the big deal. But we got cha1n one map up against dramiS. Hopefully dramiS can push this into tiebreaker on Ruins of Sarnath, but right now this first fight just not going his way. But like I said, all in all the time, and dramiS is just desperately looking for a way back out after the pickup for that first mega.
Yeah, I think dramiS starting the map out there saying, "Are you a gambling man, cha1n?" Because that's what this is going to be.
It's a little bit like Awoken, where that does happen quite a bit. I mean, things get really nasty in that first fight. If you spawn LG, you have such a great advantage. But the fact that dramiS got that frag at all, he turned a bad situation into a pretty good one just with his damage output.
Yeah, I think you know, maybe it took cha1n off guard a little bit and took him out of his comfort zone. Sometimes even if you don't seem to be the winner of a fight, the off balance and awkwardness of the fight can kind of throw you off for a few seconds and you know, rally you a bit and make it easier for your opponent to kind of come in and finish it up or get the advantage on fight number 2.
Yeah, but here we got cha1n throwing out all of his grenades just as a bit of a firewall against dramiS to keep him up top. But as a Galena up top is exactly where you want to be. He's looking for a bit more damage before the play through the teleporter. You won't have too many grenades to worry about right now, but here's the play. There's the pickup for the mega, and dramiS is just fine. 17 seconds left to heavy, and with this split already, dramiS is in a really good state.
Yeah, I think at this point, you know, dramiS, oops, it's a big rocket to take. dramiS with being on Galena, it's going to be seriously advantageous, even versus something as tanky as a Keel, as long as he doesn't, you know, concede too many major items without dealing any damage. And even if Keel had gotten the heavy in that situation, he could have done damage to it on the exit of the telly, and made sure it wasn't a whole heavy and still not a very stacked Keel. So as long as he can manage Keel stack, I think he's in a really good position to take this round.
I mean, this is also the map with the most amount of small armors here, so yeah, I mean, cha1n can armor up very quickly, even without necessarily being in control. But dramiS is more than happy to sit up here. I mean, there's 3 minutes to play in the round, but it's going to be up to cha1n to make something happen.
Yeah, and I think what cha1n's going to need to do to kind of make his way back into the round is, all right, or not. I think in that situation, what cha1n could have done maybe is to focus on either A, playing all in for an item like he did, or B, trying to get rid of some of those totems at upper. Some solid rails, though. I mean, you hit your shots, and that's just the way it goes.
That is, and that is going to be some solid rails out of dramiS. He's respawning outside of Rocket Launcher, which means that, yeah, LG is actually pretty safe. It's probably my favorite spawn there because you get both weapons, and you know there's not likely going to be a fight there.
Yeah, I think it's the most dominant spawn as well as being, you know, your favorite. It's pretty tough to deal with as the other player. cha1n already knows, you know, his mind already has said, I'm out of control. And that's how he's playing right now. He's playing very conservatively, not committing to any, you know, hard angles. He knows he doesn't have the same degree of weaponry that dramiS has, and he's trying to play the advantage here using the rail. He misses that shot. He knows I gotta go. This ain't it. There's better ones out there, and now he's living to fight another day. Wow. Making some good decisions.
If only just because dramiS is now double stacked up. He's got 2 totems on the teleporter exit, so I mean, cha1n's got the same ability to play the long con and get 3 totems up, especially down there at the railgun, and kind of give himself a mega, which is a great way to come back into this map, but it's going to take him time, and he needs to not get caught in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think he's moved into a pretty good position because he can hear immediately when Galena leaves. Unfortunately, he didn't jump up to upper and try and capitalize on that situation. That might be a little miscue in timing, and he's going to pay for it with his life.
Yeah, I didn't want to allow the time there for the triple totems to come back up, but dramiS has got a mega in his pocket now as well. So we've got, oh geez, a great rocket coming out of cha1n to kind of open things up, going for the dire orb to get back up top map.
Gone.
That allows him to clear the totems. It allows him to stay up top here. dramiS can't really push in on him. One more good rocket from cha1n would do it, but he's already given himself a huge advantage.
Yeah, that was super greedy from dramiS. Oh, it worked out. I mean, you know, he gets the frag, but it could have definitely been a lot cleaner. I think if he had just maybe went ahead and used it, got the mega that he had in his pocket, and had an extra 40 or 50 health.
On the same token, cha1n didn't really need a drop there. Like, yeah, I get it. Heavy armor's nice, but He had bought himself so much with that one dire orb.
Yeah, he bought into the sales pitch, though. Heavy armor is really nice. It's not just nice, it's really nice.
Could take so many rockets with this bad boy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, so Heavy's going to be back up, and cha1n should be able to get the pickup here. Having an RJ back up to Churro for it, but there it is. 7 seconds to Mega. He's going to have a fistful of dynamite, a sleeve full of grenades. But he's going to be fully aware of dramiS' danger out of that teleporter, but he's popping back through anyway. There's the LG coming out. The grenades aren't quite connecting, and dramiS' rail is doing just fine.
Yeah, I think he's taking advantage of the fact that cha1n's trying to bully him and playing certain positions, very particularly picked, that are hard to hit those grenades and get that added 75. Because, you know, the aim punch from the nade is going to throw your LG off. So if he eats one grenade there, it's throwing the whole fight off. And now you'll see cha1n get the better spawn, and you should see cha1n move into a position of control here. Exactly
dramiS really doesn't need to be down here. Yeah, there was no escaping that fight, so that's going to be a little bit of compensation there for cha1n.
And I think, you know, you'll see this round go wildly different than the first 2 rounds. I think cha1n probably had a little better of a plan for if he got that less advantageous spawn, and now you're seeing dramiS kind of pay for that, being down a champ. He's got an orb though, and I think he's got the champ advantage in combat.
But now we see a similar situation where, yeah, I mean, Galena v Ranger. Ranger is almost uniquely qualified to take over the top, but cha1n's LG just so strong there. The movement from dramiS not quite where it needed to be, and he's going to be down to a Sorlag. Let's see how long she can last, but up against an LG, it's a tough question.
Yeah, those minutes and seconds are numbered. But he's got himself out of the situation at least, so we'll see. That's not the jump pad I thought he would have gone up, and he's paying for it. I thought he went up the machine gun jump pad.
So many 7s against a Sorlag, though. I mean, dramiS is down to 50 HP, hardly any armor at all. Heavy's going to be back up, and that's going to be going over to cha1n 12 seconds before Mega. But right now, cha1n might well be looking more for a frag than for total control. This is the time to shut down this dinosaur.
Yeah, and I think, you know, to your point, so many 7s, it's like when you're playing against a Sorlag, you can minus, you know, 30 or 40 off of her stack if you've got LG and she doesn't, because whatever she has, you know, you're about to chew into it pretty good.
And so much of it isn't even size anymore. It's just posture and silhouette. Like, she's wider if she's not facing you directly.
Yeah, and you know, you hit those 7s and you just gain some confidence. It's so juicy.
Yeah, good posture, kids. That's the lesson today.
Yeah, if she stood up straight, it'd be a lot harder to hit.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so we got cha1n here.
She's in a good athletic position.
for her species, yeah.
This is risky.
I like this tribal usage. cha1n just wants an LG, and he wants to get out of here, but he's coming back in. He's going to be stuck at the choke point. A really good defensive rocket, but dramiS still has plenty of fuel in that fight. There's the totem to keep cha1n alive a little bit longer, but against the pillar, it's not going to be long enough.
cha1n tried to employ the if I don't look at him tactic, he can't see me, and it did not work. So everybody note that does not work.
He's going to get kicked into the caboose anyway, but here comes the dire orb to try to make something happen. dramiS shutting that down and following up with a ton of really good LG with the tribal to get the frag.
Really, really good quality tri-bolt there. And a smart weapon switch, knowing the range on the map, knowing that it's right at that perfect angle. If he does decide to run right away, he's going to take it, and that's exactly that.
Oh, nasty fight when you both get popped up. dramiS is one shot away from losing everything, but that little play there on the jump pad, not dropping down, that is going to be 3-1. cha1n only having the 1 round up, and that's going to push us into Ruins of Sarnath.
And that's actually going to be a very, very interesting. That makes this matchup super interesting, because we know that's dramiS' home, but we also know cha1n in the scrub there. I mean, he's gonna make you earn it. So I think this is going to be a really, really quality game, and a lot of you know, good decisions. I think this game in particular, this map, you saw really good play from cha1n. I felt like he played the spawns he got pretty well. But it, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out for you, and he needs to know going into the next map. You know, I was doing everything in my power to kind of give myself a good chance to win this map. It didn't particularly work out. I made 1 or 2 wrong moves, and that cost me my life and cost me control. But going into it, you know, knowing, okay, maybe I didn't lose this. And dramiS needs to go into the next map knowing I won that. Yeah. You know, I outplayed him. I outpicked him. And
on the next map, I could probably get a rail a little bit easier.
Exactly. You know, being in control doesn't limit you from the rail. That's the one thing about Veil is that does make it actually very interesting.
It is, yeah. It makes it a favorite of mine, especially in 2v2. You've got all kinds of potential for setting up a bit of a fortress in the rail room, trying to own all the hourglasses, the small armor.
I loved Veil in 2v2.
Yeah,
totally. I really loved it.
Bring it back,
please.
I don't know if it's in the DreamHack pool.
I don't think it is.
Oh.
I think it's Tempest. Tempest is interesting.
Tempest has the most beautiful skybox ever.
It's got a very nice rain sound.
Yeah, top tier. I mean, we've got a great kind of buffet of rain sounds in Quake Champions, and Tempest is
I think
right
it's
there at the top.
Yeah, I think it's at the upper echelon.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind Tempest. I thought Veil was unique.
Tempest is probably the closest we have to like a Quake 3, Quake Live TDM map where it's very kind of segmented as far as gameplay goes. You don't have a lot of visibility from one atrium into the other. If you're fighting at LG, you're fighting at LG. Right. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but Veil's very enjoyable to watch. You know, I wasn't a massive fan of it going into PGL, but then we saw it played on LAN for the first time, and it was actually like very special and fun to play in and fun to watch. I mean, the way it interacted with Zero Ping was really cool. I mean, it was one of the few maps you could kind of really push chokes hard and really punish people. So I'm actually a huge fan now, and I want to see it stay in the dual pool. But that was a great map. I think dramiS really played well. And I'm excited to see, can cha1n maintain the confidence that, hey, I'm playing well. Hey, I'm in this. That was by no means a wash. And can dramiS kind of go into this next map saying, see, I do belong here. Because DM6 was pretty convincing that...
it is the map that we generally expect dramiS to both pick and win, so going into a tiebreaker for it, I do want to give dramiS a little bit of an edge. But again, what we saw there from cha1n on DM6, he was very confident as well. He knew exactly how things were being played out. Didn't get surprised very often, even in the frags that dramiS did make. It was like a rough and tumble fight. We saw a few messy ones. And you get those in Ruins of Sarnath as well, but like the initial engagement is usually about that opening rail or the opening nails.
Yeah, it's very clean, and it's very... Sarnath is one of those maps where if you get control, you feel like you've earned it.
Yeah.
You hit the shot, you did the thing, you were in the right position, you deserved it, it's your control, yours to lose.
Yeah.
Have fun. And there's enough vials on the map. I mean, they reduced it a hair, but there's enough vials on the map that if you're playing a very, ult-dependent champion, you don't inherently lose the control you've gained based on the fact that, you got the first frag, your ult's down. You can get it up relatively quickly. I mean, for instance, you get a kill heavy. You got 40%. You go up the pad, and then you go down that little hallway, you got 40%. If it's really that important to you, if you're playing clutch, Razy, if it's really that important to you, then you can even drop to LG, and you have 60%. So it's really good for that, and I think it adds a unique dynamic to Sarnath that we don't see with a lot of the other maps.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into it, I do wonder if dramiS is going to pick somebody that allows him to be a little bit more aggressive than he was even on Blood Covenant. We do have another BJ ban out there. Like, nobody wants to play BJ now that the voice actor's changed.
It's definitely the voice actor 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you're a professional player, you have to hear the same thing over and over again. And if you don't, then you're obviously, it throws your game off, and you have to just pick something else. Also, that's why dramiS picked Sorlag, was so that he could hear her voice in his ears.
It's a good characterization for sure.
Yeah, I think it's top tier. That's like 200 IQ plays, though. I mean, don't try that at home. It's very dangerous.
The thing is, every time you do see Sorlag play, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be great. We see some Sorlag, and then she dies really quickly.
Well, in the PTS, I don't believe that will be the case.
Right.
Like in the new patch, it feels like those CPM champions are very much viable and fun to kind of play. Even in 2v2, it felt, you could really use the tank element of the tank. And that's going to
just meaning you take more damage.
Right, right. And I think that's kind of exciting to see. You see, you taking that risk and running that big hitbox kind of get to pay off.
Yeah.
Other than, using the ult or, with clutch or keel, you use the ult and you get the benefit of that. But I think seeing that size and health really pay off is going to be fun.
Well, also having no visor on Ruins of Sarnath is going to make things interesting. But we got cha1n going for Nyx, Ranger, Galena. You do have to kind of have a Galena on Ruins for sure, as we've got dramiS going for Ranger. But again, I'm wondering...
Slash or Nyx? Or
exactly. Athena would be interesting.
Slash.
Going for the Slash, though. Okay, so there were a few tournaments where dramiS wasn't really going for the whole Slash play. And even talks, like during the PGL, there were a few maps where he had the opportunity to do it. It hadn't been banned, but he was thinking, is this really what I want to bank everything on? Yeah,
I think going forward, this may be a going forward type of play. And I think sometimes you do that in these online tournaments is you say, like, you know, I'm preparing for a LAN here. I'm trying to win a LAN. I need to know what this feels like under this much pressure.
Right.
How does it feel to run this champion? Because next patch, she is absolutely going to be incredibly viable. It's going to be fun to see, but I think the visor ban actually explains why dramiS probably didn't pick this map to begin with. It's a favorite of his.
Well, fortunately for him, it is going to be a tiebreaker, but we're starting on cha1n here, as they're both, actually no, we've got cha1n on Galena, dramiS on Ranger, with the first heavy armor being really delayed, but we see dramiS getting full information, eating a little bit of damage for his trouble, but knowing that means that all of the emphasis will be about this next mega.
I think that's one of the fun quirks about Sarnath is that first spawn can be so awkward, like, wait, did you go there? No, I went here. Oh, I thought you went there.
But you can both delay it a lot, but it's relatively difficult to mask the pickup from your opponent, because if you're anywhere near, you know, the other item, you're going to hear it.
Yeah, and it just kind of, it's like nothing really comes of it, but it kind of creates these funny situations where you're like, wait a minute, I thought that was the heavy spawn.
Yeah. But there we have the mega taken away by dramiS without too much trouble. I mean, it was a good rail coming out of cha1n, but it turns into a trade. I wasn't actually expecting that to turn into a trade. dramiS took a bit of damage, but he certainly could have collapsed in on that heavy.
Yeah, I think dramiS kind of overestimated like how like the capability of his orb to close ground there, and he wound up using it to close ground on the mega anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
But there's
risky rocket jump there,
Ruins of Sarnath rails, yeah. Oh, almost right down onto the orb. cha1n thinking, oh, I should commit to this. He's dropping down on it. This is my chance, but a little bit of mistiming there, and I'm sure dramiS was really holding his breath for a moment.
Well, if cha1n had hit that orb,
yeah.
I don't even know what I would have done with myself.
Just dropping right onto it.
Yeah, I think we would have just had to end the tournament right there.
Yeah,
like, you
absolutely.
win, buddy.
By default, but we got dramiS finally taking that frag back and also getting back up here on Mega. 3 seconds to the pickup, and this time there's not a whole lot to prevent him from going in for the heavy, but he's actually delaying the Mega just a little bit, which also delays his ability to move down towards the heavy. So sure, if you want it to be a clean trade, great, that's a good way to do it.
I think this kind of shows what we talked about before the map started, which was, you know, dramiS kind of had a messy frag to begin the game, but he still has control. He still is able to maintain that high ground, and it keeps him in a pretty decent position to, you know, move forward with the control. Whereas, you know, on other maps, it may be a little easier for the opponent to come back in and trade.
Yeah. Here at top T, dramiS's rockets and rails not quite connecting the way they need to, so the timing between Mega and Heavier is going to get a little bit tighter. So tight, in fact, that we see the Mega even eclipse the Heavy here, which means that dramiS has actually got to really change gears coming into this next round of items. He can't really kind of guard the Mega anymore and expect to get away with it.
Yeah, I think now that cha1n has that armor and that stack advantage, and the rail to boot, cha1n's basically put himself in a position to secure full control. The only thing that mistake he made there was he used the orb, which is going to prevent him from orbing up to this Mega. And very, very good move by dramiS to know that. Like, that's really, really smart, saying, okay, he used his orb. He can't immediately retake this Mega health.
That felt like a little moment of desperation there from dramiS, where he thought, okay, I took enough damage, I was able to orb back into the Mega, but if I don't get this Mega, I'm in real trouble. But here I am. But fortunately for him, he was able to get the pickup, as we still have the items getting traded here. Not a whole lot of aggression after this first frag.
Sometimes you gotta just hatch that egg, man. You gotta just sit on it and, you know, see what happens.
Pray, yeah. But we got dramiS looking for initial rocket damage. He didn't. Oh, he thought he heard the drop. He gets caught with his pants down, as dramiS gets completely decimated by cha1n's LG.
Yeah, gotta keep your pants on. I mean, you gotta wear your belt. You know, when you show up for these tournaments, it's critical.
Go for the suspenders too, but now we got dramiS bringing out the slasher, walking right into a rocket, followed up by the rail. Nasty stuff out of cha1n, and this could be the first round of Ruins.
Would that qualify as a toasty?
Yeah, absolutely. If I had that button, I would have been smacking it pretty hard.
Okay, cool. All right, I was just checking. I got to learn how things are done around here.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I'm not even sure what the criteria was in Mortal Kombat, but yeah, that would have been it. So we got cha1n here. really fighting over this heavy armor. They're both going to be taking a lot of damage. Mega's back up, which means if either of them want to go for it, it's going to be risky. But we got cha1n at least peeking it, at least checking it. We hear the 125 down below getting taken away. And so, yeah, you were mentioning earlier how much cha1n kind of relies on sound cues, and that was a good read there.
cha1n is showing again this map like he did on DM6, abusing, in that first fight by upper mid, abusing that sound cue, making dramiS think he dropped. And cha1n's doing a really, really good job of taking advantage of some carelessness by dramiS, maybe not taking every little precaution that he probably could.
Yeah. Oh, but he gets blindsided here by the LG, so a little bit of revenge from dramiS as far as the surprises go, but cha1n still just about at 100-100. This is going to give the Mega over to dramiS at least, so he's still one frag down. It's not going to matter too much. He's trying to escape it, and that orb from cha1n keeps him out of the fight and gets him that first round.
That whole movement sequence from cha1n was just beautiful. You know, hitting that rocket, knowing that he potentially could drop, throwing an orb just in case, and making the read at the last second. Really, really, really good quality movement. 3
layers of ambiguity equals 1 round for cha1n. So he's going to be spawning up at the armor itself, which is a pretty good spawn. It's relatively safe. If your opponent wants to drop down towards rail and LG, at least you're going to see them pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think in these type of situations, Galena versus Galena, you want to do as much as you can to make the first fight not random. You know that they're, you know, not super ult heavy champions in terms of combat, other than maybe a little defensive damage or defending some damage. So I think both of these players know early in the round they're not really willing to concede a frag.
Jeez.
Oh, what a rocket! cha1n's hitting his shots right now,
yeah,
and it's making his life pretty easy.
We just heard the jump head as well. We don't have dramiS committing up top, but cha1n's going to cap it off with a nice totem. And he's going to be looking for him on the exit. But if dramiS wanted to go tribal, that would have been some trouble. But he's got a bit more ambiguity here.
Yeah, and I think dramiS is doing a really good job of just taking the punches and not overreacting, not trying to push the issue, just saying, okay, you hit the shot, you win the fight, I'm backing off. Okay, you hit the shot, you win the fight, I'm backing off. And hopefully, eventually, you know, dramiS hits some shots of his own and he's able to score himself around here. But this is really good quality play from dramiS, giving himself a really easy set of shots to hit.
But then those rockets and cha1n nearly getting a clean RJ back into Mega, and dramiS following it up with a great rail. I was going to say, like, cha1n's got such a great stack, he doesn't have too much to worry about, but he was absolutely melted by dramiS' trap. Oh, and they're going to get caught here, back over at the cake button, looking for that orb to escape once again, and cha1n's back out of there, but not done with the fight just yet.
cha1n is showing a really good uses of his ult to get away as Ranger. I mean, he's gotten out of some really sticky situations, and they almost look reactive. They don't even look
right.
They don't look like he's, you know, got a lot of time to think about it. He's just saying, "Yep, this is the right move," and he's nailing them every time. It's really, really good quality Ranger play.
Certainly keeping him alive, but dramiS is able to take away the Mega at least as well. So, or actually, no, cha1n got the last pickup, so dramiS is going to still be looking for these initial rails. He's getting 2 for the price of 1, which could certainly help out, but with Heavy being the next item back up, he's not going to be there to show up for it. So 3 seconds to Mega, dramiS top T, doesn't know which way cha1n's coming from.
There's that ammo pickup.
There's the dire orb for the Mega, yeah.
dramiS knows that right away I need to hit like 150 damage before this fight even starts. And if I don't, then I'm going to lose. And he's probably going to lose this fight. He already kind of knows he's in trouble. He needs to back off, do as much damage as he can. Going for the close range rail.
Yikes. These rockets.
And that's not a terrible decision to switch for the close range rail there. You know you can get the quick pop of 90 if you hit it. If you're feeling it anyway, you know you're probably dead. Not a terrible decision, but desperate nonetheless.
Well, that turned into solid frags, and, well, the solid 1 frag and solid control out of cha1n. Be trading some rails, and cha1n's got a lot in him, just being willing to trade these rails against dramiS on Ruins and Sarnath. But 5 seconds to Heavy. cha1n's waiting for it, looking for it. Can you hear the pitter-patter of little feet up above? But with 10 seconds left to Mega, like, he could use Orb, go top T, and be very aggressive up here.
Good hard
dramiS had a good read, though, because he was able to turn that damage back around with a good rail as well. So cha1n, he still wants it, and he gets it anyway. Ah, geez, that Orb. If it was placed a little bit differently, that could have been a Mega pickup for dramiS.
Yeah, that was a really good read by cha1n, knowing that at that point the only way he could get back up there is by getting himself killed, and so he went ahead and committed for the Mega. I mean, the worst case is maybe dramiS hits that orb and does 100 damage, but it's very, very unlikely in that situation.
looking to make it happen a third time, but that slash trail does a lot of damage, in fact, so now cha1n is going to be on the back leg. dramiS has just over a minute to take this frag back around, however.
I really like that dramiS is playing that upper T. Even though he's having to concede heavy, he's saying, you know, I know what you're going to do, and I'm going to be there waiting for you with 150 damage in your face. Enjoy it. And that's exactly what happened. He almost did it last time as well. I mean, he knew he had the hard read, and had he hit a couple rockets and pinned cha1n's Ranger, it could have ended a lot differently. But so he's making the right reads. He's just not necessarily winning the fights at the moment. You got to win those fights.
I mean, here with dramiS down one, yeah, he's got 30 seconds to catch cha1n. cha1n's still got a dire orb up his sleeve, and cha1n's been really slippery. I mean, he was able to hear the slime trail put down by dramiS and avoid sight entirely. And it comes down to a lot of what you're seeing right here, just, you know, waiting at a corner, figuring out which way they're going to, and
examining the
leaving
wall.
sight. Yeah, exactly. Appreciating the texture work.
This is a nice texture.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. What about this one?
Lovely, but 10 seconds. cha1n has been caught. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing just because you know how fast dramiS can be, but he's got a lot of ground to cover, and cha1n still has that escape rope.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a good move by cha1n to go back towards the heavy armor there, because a lot of players automatically assume that you won't go to the most obvious places when you're running away, and an item would be incredibly obvious. But with 5 seconds left, taking advantage of that kind of psychological blunder is a really good way to secure yourself around. Well, and you get the plus 100, which isn't bad either.
It's not every day you see dramiS struggling like this on Ruins of Sarnath, but cha1n's gameplay today has been really flexible, really malleable. And cha1n's able to take away that heavy armor. He's only got a nail gun, so he's going to just be looking for info, and then leaving as dramiS is going to go get himself an LG.
Yeah, and some smart spam out of cha1n there. Like, you want to make sure that the one angle that he could absolutely destroy you from is covered. And I think as you're backing off onto Rocket, Ranger coming at you with an orb from that high ground angle, as you said, 1 or 2 stairs.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be a mutual here, so it's going to open things up to a lot of potentialities on the respawn. But cha1n's here at the heavy. Oh, but there's the pickup of the heavy from dramiS. cha1n backing out of there with only 50 health, knowing that Mega's back up, but without weapons, without stack, it's so difficult to justify being here. He gets the pickup anyway, but there's the punish from dramiS.
dramiS just absolutely doing every bit of aggression that he should have in that situation. I mean, taking advantage of the fact that, well, he's got the fast one and the other guy doesn't. And sometimes that's all it takes.
And he wants the train to keep on going as he's forced out the ghost walk from cha1n. He's got the 1 rail in so far, and now he's looking to close the gap. cha1n, again, this really clever movement to try to avoid the frag, but just could not get out of that net.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the clever movement, we saw another one of those orbs that round where he kind of gave himself this ambiguous option that dramiS couldn't capitalize on, but unfortunately, dramiS' slash movement is just so good. He is so fast. You know, there's probably 3 slashes in the world, maybe 4 that are capable of doing what he's doing with it, and you know, it's really special to watch when that really pans out the way it should. And he's able to close a lot of ground and do a lot of damage. It's fun. It's exciting Quake.
Absolutely. So we're going to be getting into the next round without the slash as the initial picks up here, as dramiS is going to be back on his Ranger. Item splits are going to be pretty even, but a great rocket followed up by an orb and the rocket to finish out of dramiS. So yeah, as soon as that first rocket was connected, he thought, all right, it's time. It's go time. Let's do it.
Are we going to see a round 5? Like, can a player caster curse? Like, I'm a player.
You know, I've seen it happen before, so.
Rip, sorry.
Yeah, so cha1n's got it now in the bag, right? Like, we can pack it up and go home.
All right.
I am home, but you know, you got to drive.
cha1n already won, you know.
Yeah.
What did he do? He hit some sort of shot or something?
Again, a very similar fight. He's looking for that last rail, but it's a little bit of one more shot-itis as he's only at 20 HP. He might have to dive down here for the unsafe health, hoping that he's done enough damage to cha1n to make him back off.
Is one more shot-itis like hereditary, or?
It can be, yeah.
Okay. I just want to know how it's transmitted.
I've seen it in families, but 20 seconds to heavy. dramiS is using the lower portion just across the map, gets some more poverty items. As cha1n is going to be the 1 frag down, and here at top T, they're going to be rangering on rangering. As dramiS wants to leave that fight, having gotten away with quite a bit with the heavy coming up. But he can hear the pitter-patter down below. dramiS is going for the Mega instead. But with 5 seconds left, I think we heard, thought that was a rocket jump actually, but there's still some aggression getting put on the Mega.
Yeah, and dramiS again conceding full control. I mean, he's shown throughout this map that he has no issue conceding both items in the name of, you know, preserving his life. And I think using a bit of that ambiguous orb strategy that cha1n's been using, and then cha1n doing it again too. Oof. Just like a really awkward orb chase that nobody used their orbs.
Could not avoid it long enough, could not run away for the entire duration. So that'll tie the frags back up as cha1n took very little damage in that fight, giving dramiS a lot to worry about even as he respawns. And he's already used his ability, so, oh my god, 2 rockets very clean as cha1n takes it away. And now, well, I'm sorry, we might not get that 5th round, but now I'll take cursed it, so yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure what the line is there.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't worried about it.
Statute of limitations.
Sorry.
So there's cha1n getting that first rail in. dramiS is sticking it out here by the rocket launcher, trying to stay defensive, but it's so difficult from this angle. A great rocket, though, right between the legs. cha1n's going to have to leave. Go get that heavy. Wah, wah.
Wow. You think about how, like, poorly that fight could have ended for dramiS, and the fact that he's alive with a decent stack now, and not a terrible champ to face Ranger with. I mean, probably not the best, but not bad. He's not, you know, completely outmatched. And if he can get through Ranger, I mean, Galena versus Nyx can be pretty devastating. So he's not out of this round by any means, and he's been able to restack himself to a decent stack. Has that hitbox advantage, smaller hitbox. This could wind up being a more favorable situation for dramiS than it appears.
Well, we'll see what cha1n thinks here, as we really haven't seen dramiS be able to leave the LG area for quite some time. We got the Mega back up, but if he wants to come around the corner from now, then yeah, he's got to know cha1n's going to be there first. Maybe I can get a rail in, but then dropping down to heavy, is that going to be worth it? No, he's leaving it open completely, knowing that he's still got a minute and 20 seconds to make something happen. Looking for cha1n on the exit there, actually catching him a little bit on the stairs, which is difficult against the Ranger.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is the point where cha1n's going to go ahead and say, 4-minute mark, time to kind of get defensive. Or if he maybe feels like being aggressive for a little while longer, doing some damage, might be the better play. dramiS is not in terrible situation. 200 total health is hit points is not bad, so it's not like he's completely out of item contention, although that one rocket does hurt a little bit more for him than it hurt cha1n. I mean, he's not totally out of contention for the next fight. He hits a good entry rocket, and he can still hunt him down here. And I think he already is anticipating that.
Didn't seem at the tri-bolt, though, so he's going to get a little damage off here. Oh, but with that pop, that's going to be a good lockdown with the rail. dramiS has got to leave now. Even dropping down for the small 25s would be dangerous, so he's only taking the totem health. But he's still weak, and he's going to be down. Cannot cross that gap. Cannot get in there, so that's going to be GG's with dramiS getting knocked out of the running. Again, this is playoffs at single elimination. And as sad as I am to see Effortless and dramiS getting knocked out, we do have our first semifinal.
That was a really, really good decision by Effortless to kind of